Well, hello everybody. I thought I'd give you a quick update on Hurricane Idalia, which is going to have a big impact in the southeastern United States over the next day to 2 days. So this is the visible satellite image of the south and east, and you can see Hurricane Franklin, which was a big, powerful Category 4 hurricane yesterday. It's moving slowly off towards the north and east, and that's moving out to sea. The only thing that's going to do is provide some wave and surf action along the east coast. Of immediate concern, though, is Hurricane Idalia, which is currently strengthening as it moves northward through the Gulf of Mexico. So yesterday it was just a tropical storm. Today it's a Category 1 hurricane, soon to be Category 2 hurricane, and likely a Category 3 hurricane when it makes landfall sometime early tomorrow morning. I can show you a zoomed in image of this satellite picture here, and we can see Idalia. It's moving steadily northward, so you can kind of see the center right there. It doesn't have a well-defined eye yet on the visible satellite image, but it is definitely intensifying. Each update has been a little bit stronger, and it's moving through very warm waters, and it's in a really conducive environment for development, so it's likely this will continue to strengthen all the way up until it makes landfall. And you can kind of see the general motion is just east of north here, and it's going to continue on this trek till it gets about here or so, and then it's going to start moving off a little bit more towards the north and east. And I'll show you that here in a second. So this is the current setup outside, and I will draw this for you on this map. This is what it looks like in the upper atmosphere. So here's Hurricane Idalia right here, and we see here's Hurricane Franklin. Basically, the flow in the atmosphere, it basically parallels these lines that are on the map for you. So the flow in the atmosphere looks something like this. So this big, what we call a trough, it's this big dip southward in the atmosphere. The steering flow around this looks something like that. So as the hurricane moves northward like this, it's going to get caught in this flow. That's why Franklin is moving this way, and that's what's going to cause Idalia to also move in this general direction over the next couple of days or so. So that's basically what's going on. That's why it's steering the way it's going, essentially. So if you watch this, I can back this up. So this shows you its current position. I'm going to show you a couple different models just to show you the slight differences make big impacts around the south and east. So here's its current position, and you can see this is tonight around 8 p.m. This is overnight around 2 in the morning. And when you're waking up tomorrow morning, it's basically going to be making landfall around 8 a.m. somewhere in this Big Bend area of Florida. So this is the peninsula, and then this is the panhandle, so somewhere kind of right where the two of those meet. And the GFS, or this is the American model, it has a bit more western track, and it's been a bit more western over the last couple of days. But you can see the intense rain bands here and the onshore flow. So again, if I get my little drawing tool here for you all, let's see, right when it's making landfall. Right, if I draw this for you, the flow around this thing is counterclockwise like this. So if you're on this side, so if the center is moving this way, anywhere over in this section here is going to have wind being pushed from the Gulf of Mexico onshore. And this is very low-lying, flat, kind of swampy area. So there's going to be a lot of storm surge. So this storm is going to be able to push a lot of water onshore and cause a lot of inland flooding there in that part of Florida. And one of my students just pointed out to me that this area of Florida has never been hit by a major hurricane, a Category 3, 4, or 5. So this is probably going to be a first for this area. Luckily, though, it is a fairly low-populated area of Florida, unlike some of these areas near Tampa and whatnot. But it's still going to be pretty bad. So that storm system moves onshore, moves into southern Georgia. And you can see the rain bands associated with this move into the Charlotte area, Wilmington, much of South Carolina, by midday tomorrow, and then this storm kind of lifts northward along the coastal plain of South Carolina, bringing rain from basically the I-85 corridor and points east all the way to the coast, and then basically shoots off to sea or goes out to sea sometime late in the day on Thursday and into Friday. That's one model perspective. Is the GFS. I can switch this really quickly and show you the European model just as a comparison. This model has been traditionally this week a little bit farther to the east. So remember, the GFS had it hitting right in this location. The Euro has moved more in line with the GFS, and it's now a bit more east. A couple of days ago, the Euro had it making landfall over here, but now it's pretty close to the GFS, and it has a more inland track as well. And you see this tracks it across southern Georgia and then off the coast of South Carolina. About the same time frame. But this one has less impacts for the Charlotte area. You still see we're going to get some rain. We're in the rain shield, but this keeps the heaviest rain just to the south and east of the Charlotte Metro across much of South Carolina and the coastal parts of North Carolina. In terms of hurricane track, these are some of the ensembles. So again, these are the variety of models that you look at. So these are kind of the options. So you see almost all of them are in agreement that it's going to take this northward trek and eventually turn off to the northeast, but you can clearly see there's some spread in the models in terms of what that's going to look like. It shows you another group of ensembles. Same type of deal, right? They're very clustered together, but if it's a 30, 40 miles more north, Charlotte's going to get a lot more rain. If it's 30, 40 miles more south, Charlotte's going to get a lot less rain. So the rain forecast tomorrow is a tough one, I will say that for sure. This is the official hurricane track from the Hurricane Center. So you see it has a major landfalling hurricane right in that Big Bend area, moving into southern Georgia, and then along the South Carolina coast over the next couple of days. There will be a lot of surge along the North and South Carolina coasts as well, because as the storm is moving this way, it's still going to be circulating and bringing in a lot of water ahead of it along the coastal regions of the Carolinas. So this would not be a great day to go to the beach. In terms of how much precipitation, well, I can show you kind of one of the higher resolution models near our area. It'll show you kind of the timing of the precipitation across our area. So this afternoon, we still have this stationary boundary over us that's been giving us thunderstorm almost every day of the week. And that's going to continue. So you'll see some scattered thunderstorms around tonight and this evening. That's not associated with Idalia, so we're just going to get some thunderstorms this evening. And then it clears out by morning, but you'll start to see by about 10 or 11 in the morning, you'll start to see these rain bands moving near Columbia, and eventually they reach the Charlotte area about lunchtime. And then the rain isn't too heavy tomorrow afternoon. It's really tomorrow evening when you start seeing these heavier pockets of rain start moving in. 10, 11, 12 o'clock overnight on Wednesday into Thursday morning. You see these bands of heavy precipitation, and then that moves along the coast and then eventually out to sea. That's just one model's rendition. You kind of have to look at all of them collectively, like I said. And when you do that, this is what the Hurricane Center has put out as potential rainfall totals, which will be our biggest impact here in the Carolinas. There will be certainly some wind along the coastal regions. It'll be breezy tomorrow evening as the pressure gradient increases, but it's not going to be anything more than 20 or 30 miles an hour in the Charlotte area. But the biggest story is the rainfall, and this has increased since yesterday. Yesterday it was looking like Charlotte was going to see maybe 1 or 2 inches of rain from this storm. Now it's looking, as you can see, we're in the darker green, the 2 to 4 inches of rain. And given that we've seen 1 to almost 5 inches of rain, depending on where you live in Charlotte over the last couple of days with these thunderstorms, flash flooding is a real possibility, especially tomorrow evening if we get under one of those heavy bands. Now again, if the storm shifts a little bit more to the south and east, we'll be in this lighter green. You can see we're kind of on the edge, and we won't see that much precipitation. If it shifts a little bit more to the north and west, we'll see a lot of precipitation. And just to show you one last graphic, this shows you total precipitation just given by one model, and if I fast forward this, forward, you can see that there's a very sharp dividing line where areas to the south and east of Charlotte are going to get 7, 8, 10 inches of rain. So I think flooding is a really big possibility from Florence to Fayetteville down to Wilmington, all in these regions of eastern North Carolina and South Carolina. But you see Charlotte is right on the dividing line. If this storm moves, 30, 40 miles this way, we're going to be in these heavy rain bands. And if it moves 30, 40 miles south and east, we're going to be in, a quarter of an inch, half an inch of rain. So unfortunately, I can't give you a definitive amount of rainfall. We just have to stay tuned and see exactly where the storm goes. But I would definitely be prepared for some flooding in and around the area, especially areas south and east of Charlotte. All right, so that's a little bit of an update on the hurricane and kind of where it is and where it's going. Hopefully it doesn't keep intensifying and become really, really strong. The good thing is it doesn't have that much more time. It's going to make landfall in about 18 hours, and so there's only so much it can intensify in that amount of time. But it's going to be a pretty big storm, and it's going to drop a lot of rain and produce a lot of destruction across the northern part of Florida. So stay tuned, be safe out there, and I will see you all later.